Hey crew, and welcome back to another sketch. So my wife loves lions, and she's been asking me to draw her a lion, and I've been procrastinating. But now that I'm doing all these sketches, she called me out on it. So all right, so I guess a lion it is. Now I owe it to her. I've been telling her that I would draw her a lion for quite some time now. There's no excuse at this point, you know. I need something to sketch, so why not a lion? So I am not, I haven't really drawn many lions, so this one may actually look a little more cartoonized, if that's even a word. But I don't think she'll really matter, or she'll really care if it looks like Mufasa. Mufasa. Ooh, you guys remember that movie? The Lion King. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. You know, I started watching the actual movie, the remake that Disney did, and it looked really good. I only got to the beginning though, and then something happened and I had to stop. It's one of the things that I love movies, guys. If you guys didn't know that, big movie buff. Love it, love it. Loves going to see them and everything, but if I try to do it here in the house and watch a movie here, it hardly ever works out for me. Because there's always something to do. So for some reason, I can't remember why, I didn't get to finish watching it. Alright, so now I'm just adding the, obviously the lion is full of fur. It's just hair everywhere. Well, I mean fur everywhere. So now I'm gonna have to try and determine where the shadowed areas are at. So for example, this eye back here, I may want to color that in. Maybe some right here. I'm using my regular felt tape pen. I don't know if it's there's not really a thickness. This is Pentel. So I've gotten a lot of questions as to what pens I've been using. You know, for some reason some of those other ones didn't have a brand name, but this one does. Pentel. All right. So you guys see where this is going, right? Just adding some of those shadows here. Now, unlike the Batman was mostly dark. There's a lot of cape, a lot of shadows. Well, this is difficult in a different sense because the fur of it. The fur has to have a flowing pattern. And if you don't get it just right, it may not look very good. And like I said, I haven't really drawn many lions. So I'm trying to really kind of get the flow of the fur right now. So I imagine a little bit of wind hitting his face. Now all these other lines that I added are just for me to kind of get the feel of what the fur is doing. See, obviously we can't have the fur going upwards here, but I'll fix that later with some shadows and highlights. Alright. I know I always say the same thing. I'm gonna try not to make it too detailed, but devil's in the details, guys. It'll either make it or break your painting. So add enough detail to where you know what the heck it is. and what's going on. In this case, I want the illusion that you can see the fur twisting and turning here. Now I want this to be a little bit darker, so let me just add a few more crisscross patterns. Alright, so I'm going to keep adding some patterns here. Okay, we'll continue to add a little bit of this wave here on the back. Now, like I said earlier, I picture him now having some of this wind going through his fur. So that's why it's important that we add some of these shadowed areas so it looks like his hair is multi-layered. Now his ear is going to cast some shadow there, so just adding a little bit of darker. There we go. Alright. Starting to turn out, huh? Okay, now once again, you gotta make sure if you're doing fur or hair, you know, it's got this little wave pattern to it in many cases. So I'm trying to stick with that. I mean, do you see what I'm doing there? You don't have to be too detailed, not yet. That'll come in later with your shadowings. For now, it's important you just get the gist of what his fur is doing. Right, and then something like that over here. Again, it has that little bit of an S shape pattern to it. Now you can deviate a little bit from that, but not too much. It's starting to turn out. I might darken. Right here's where he has his whiskers. Now from a picture I was looking at, apparently lions have a ton. You know how cats usually, like, I don't know, they have like maybe 7, you know, where just they kind of go like in straight lines that way. Lions have these, you know, they go that way, they go this way, they kind of come down a little bit. So I'm going to try and add that. Something like that. Add some shadows here. So this one was actually kind of fast and a ton of fun. I mean, not that I'm done with it, but you know, those feathers were something else, man. They took a little too long. I think I'm enjoying doing the fur. Just seems a little bit easier. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm pretty new at doing this whole sketching. I mean, I've done it for fun, don't get me wrong, but never in the point where I record myself and have people take a look at it. That's pretty cool. He's got a couple little straggly hairs here. He's got a big mane. I'm just gonna add some shadows here. What do you guys think? Sound effects are a plus. They help me they help me draw better. Alright, now once again guys, this is kind of like the little pattern that I'm following here. It's kind of like an S, because it'll come down and then it'll swoop up. See that? So I'm going to try and follow that as much as possible. And then I've got to add some darker areas here where the little swoop is on the bottom part. So it'll give it that effect like it's coming down and over. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm going through and just adding some darker areas. I want to give it the effect, you know, in fact, like this one here. That multi-layering is important. Just going through, adding some of these layers here. Oh, here's another good one. So you can see the hair pattern right here, or the fur pattern. Comes down here, and then it's got some waves here. And this is all done just by darkening some areas. The beard right here is a pretty good one. Notice how I darkened most of this bottom one. Kind of gave it a little bit of that jawline. And then, once in a while, I'll add some of these little stragglers that go against the grain of the hair, right? I mean, the pattern of the hair that's coming down. And you'll have a couple of these little wisps. So it makes it feel like the lion is standing and there's this wind, just very majestic. This was actually a lot of fun. Yeah. So I'm thinking this would be a good place to stop, because I picture his paws or arms, one of his legs would come down here. You know, you got his chest right here. This is his back. So I think this would be a good spot. Let me just add a little bit of that. Yeah, I still want to make it feel like it's blowing through. Now, I also took under consideration that obviously his hair is, or his mane is, it's very full, is very heavy, so it'll come down with some weight here. So I'm trying to make sure I capture that. I mean, you can't have his whole hair like going up like he's standing in front of a fan, you know? Or I mean, you could. Your world. Your safari. Alright. Well, I think that was a lot of fun. And I think we are ready for us to sign this. So. What's today's date? 1/26/21. Well, there it is, crew. Thank you guys for joining me once again in these little quick sketches. They're always a lot of fun to do. They really are. Alright, crew. Until next time. If you guys got any suggestions, maybe we can make your next suggestion our quick sketch. Alright, crew. Later. We'll see you guys soon.